Hello, I'm David Shea of Shea's Holistics, and I'm so glad you could be here today. This is a follow-on video to the article, Spiritual Expressions in Our Life. Now, as we've been doing the past few months, we're going to be doing an article, and then we follow it with a video every couple weeks, and that seems to be what people like. Now, as always, I'd like to keep the video in somewhat the same order as we do the article, so I'm going to be referring to my notes here. So with that said, we as human beings tend to separate things, this from that, and especially spiritual from non-spiritual. And more specifically, spiritual is one thing, work is another. And because of that, it shows up in our treatment of others, in our attitude with our customers, our coworkers, supervisors, and clients if we happen to have them. I have a friend of mine, and who will remain nameless, who's a really awesome guy in his social life and his personal life. He's quite caring and loving. I mean, just a wonderful human being. But at work, he's just totally different. He's very short and focused, which is good that he's focused on his job, but he does it at the expense of his relationships with the very people he's serving. And his coworkers have complained that if you go up to him, it's like, what do you want? You know, kind of a thing, rather than, how may I help you? And my mother, interestingly, has reminded me repeatedly that work is just another avenue in which we express ourselves and learn our lessons. Whether it's at work, play, it's all the same thing. We're going to talk about that. And that's kind of one of my next thoughts, is that it's all the same thing. From our high self, our guides, the angels, the light beings, all those spiritual beings who guide us. From their point of view, everywhere we go, there we are. We are expressing ourselves each moment of the day, so it's important to always live with that in mind. Now, it's real easy for us, and I see this a lot with, say, spiritual people, traditional spiritual people, not all of them, just a few, but where if we're following social niceties, somewhat ordained activities, then we've really missed the boat, because there are those who really do truly believe that if they go to the church or the mosque or the synagogue on Saturday or Sunday or whenever they go, they've checked the box and they're good. And as we all know who are on the spiritual path, that's far from what it's all about. Now, I'm going to do a couple quotes here. One from the Bible and the other one from Buddhism. Now, in the Bible, in Colossians, I think it's 3:23, Paul said, "Whatever you do," I'm going to read it here, "work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men." And a related Buddha quote is, "The only real failure in life is not being true to the best one knows." Both of these seem like really good advice. In other words, live from our center, from our spiritual center, the center of our heart, and let all things be an expression. In other words, do all things knowing that we are a child of the divine. So with that, it logically concludes everything we do really is service. All that we do in life is in service to someone, some purpose, or both. It's most usually both. Think about it. Meals for the family. We're not only making a meal so that we can live, but we're also serving them. How we do that's really important. An oil filter change, that's a purpose. It has to be done. Cleaning the house, etc. Any one of those things. And to do that, most of us have a job or we own a business so that we can have money to help pay for all these things. Now, we can think of work in that way, and that work is work and spiritual is spiritual. But if we change our attitude a little bit, things can really make a difference, not only for ourselves, but for those who we serve in our business or whatever it is we do. Now, some time ago, I was a cashier. And interestingly, being a cashier was incidental to my real purpose in being there, which was twofold. First, one of the things my higher guidance had for me to do, my high self and my master guide, to the maximum extent possible, that was told me, it's important for me to stay centered in my high self so that I'm a clear channel of divine energies. Whatever needs to come through is what can come through. And interestingly, the energy would shift as each next customer came through in line. So that was one of the things. And I took some practice for a while, trying to be able to carry on a conversation, run the cash register, bag things, and stay centered. But in time, like anything, the more we do it, the easier it becomes. And the second one was being kind, caring, and efficient. Being kind, caring, and efficient as possible was really important to the customers, because this is one of the things they just had to do. They didn't go shopping because they wanted to, at least most people. They're there because they have to buy food, groceries, whatever else they need for the house, and they need to get their child to the soccer practice, or go home and make a meal, or have some other activity that needs to get done rather well and effectively and efficiently. And they don't want to be waiting around for some cashier to get things done. And because of that, I had a dedicated following of customers who would stand in my line. It was interesting because there would be 2 or 3 people in my line, and there'd be 2 other cashiers who, for whatever reason, they were a cashier and they did a good job, but they weren't happy people. And you could tell when you went through their line that they weren't real happy people. So even though it took a little longer, and I got real efficient at this, I made it a point to not only be efficient and bag things as well as I could, but also be a real positive attitude toward it. And I say this not to toot my own horn, but to illuminate how important it is to people to being treated caringly and lovingly in whatever we do. And it's the main thing, and it's a little thing, but really it's what really makes a difference in people's lives. Is express ourselves in a heart-centered manner, and people will really respond to it. And because of that, again, with the people in line, sometimes, even if it took them a little longer, they just didn't want to go through the other line because they didn't want to be treated poorly. And I say that to sum it up. Whatever we do, and when people came in to go shopping, the last thing they wanted to do is spend 30 minutes in line being served by an unhappy employee, and only to have their fruits and vegetables bagged together with the scented bar soap. I mean, and that happens. It's not why they're there. And they want to get through efficiently, effectively, and they want to be treated lovingly and well. They won't say that, but everyone responds to it. Even we do. I think we all love to have that. So basically, the point is that work is our spiritual expression. All things are spiritual expression, but work is our big one. So let all that we do be a shining demonstration of our higher nature, and it really will not only help us become happier at work, but everyone that comes through is going to come through the line a little bit happier. They'll come into our work in a more positive manner. When they see us, they'll think, oh, this is an uplifting person. And they'll shift from their somewhat bad mood, and they'll move into a better mood just by seeing us and knowing that that's how we're going to be. So, what is it? The do unto others, is that old saying from the Bible and probably many other spiritual teachings. Treat others as lovingly as we wish to be treated, and things will go well. And not only will our spiritual life blossom during spiritual activities, but it'll blossom 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even while we're sleeping. So I hope this helps. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, blessings, light, and love. Bye.